Sup y'all and welcome back to Trains and Tech. First and foremost, thank you for 100 subscribers. I appreciate y'all for tuning in week after week. To celebrate, in today's video we will cover the progress of my O-Gauge layout thus far. For those who weren't aware, I really don't enjoy the modeling aspect of the hobby. I get the most fun out of fixing trains, not making the scenery or layouts. Thus, the only way I will make an official layout is if I film it, truth be told. By no means is this the last video I plan on making about my layout, just wanted to show you guys where it's at. My train table starts its humble journey at a Home Depot until it was saved by yours truly. As someone who lives in an apartment, I don't have the means to cut wood easily, so shout out to Home Depot for chopping it up. However, I do have this killer balcony that I can sand and stain the wood on. To assemble, I built it in my room. Yes, ladies, I sleep right next to my trains, as the train table assembled will not fit through my door. I then procrastinated for a few weeks and finally sealed it. Fast forward about a month, I decided it was finally time to make some more progress on the table. Gotta have a clean slate. I then walked to Home Depot, grabbed this knockoff Homosoap board, and fee-fi-fo-fummed it all the way back home as I can't fit a 4x8 foot sheet in a Geo Metro. Now let's quickly pause. We've covered the construction of my table thus far, but what about the layout itself? Let's get real. I just like watching trains go around in circles. I totally respect the intricate layouts with cool functions and such, but the idea of wiring it all sounds rather unappealing at the moment. For the meantime, the layout is going to be simple. Just two ovals, outer one being 042, inner one being 031. For track selection, I went with Menards Tube Track. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the look of Gargrave's track. Well, one day I will have a wonderful layout that uses it. However, let's compare price. For just over $140, I was able to get two complete ovals shipped from Menards. For only the 042 curves, yes, just the curves from Gargraves, it'd be $116 without shipping. At the end of the day, the trains are going to run on either track. The less money I spend on this train layout, the more I can waste on cheap marketplace trains for this channel. Win-win scenario. I went ahead and ordered the track. It took about a week to get here, and that lands us at present day. As y'all just saw in that clip, this wonderful Menards box finally showed up, and inside we have all the track we need to have our two ovals, one of which being our 042 and the other one being our 031 oval. So we're going to tear this open and just make sure that we have everything in there that we need before we start doing the actual scenery of the layout, of course. Look at that. It's amazing to be holding fresh, never used tube track. It's beautiful. It's truly beautiful. Everything I own is like secondhand, so touching brand new stuff, it's so taboo. It's like I'm not even supposed to. Honestly, this all looks about right. I'm not going to count out each individual piece right this second, especially because we need to actually do the scenery for this track. So I'm going to put these guys back inside of here, and we're going to set this aside. All right, so over the past week, I've been getting resources and things that I think I'll need in order to build this layout. I'm going to share that with you guys before I start putting everything down. Up first, I've got two different types of turf that I'm going to use. I've got this blended turf and this other blended turf. One's just more of an earthy blend. This one is a green blend. Next, I've got this brown paint that I'm going to use for the board here to give more of the earthy feel. And then all of this turf will be sprinkled on top of that paint. Next, I've got this tiny roller that I'm going to use to help distribute out most of the paint. Then I got this model spray glue. I have more glue in case I need it, but this is, just preemptively, just in case. Then I've got some painter's tape. And finally, because this sound deadening material is kind of rough and has some flaky pieces on it, I got just a little bit of sandpaper to help smooth it out and just make it a little bit more appealing. Here's our tape. We're just going to lay it around the wood along all of our edges that we can reach. As y'all can see, all of the tape is laid out. I was even able to get this backside. I just had to pull the table from the wall a little bit, which I was going to do anyways because I didn't want to get any paint on my windowsill. We've got all the protective tape laid out. Now we just got to start sanding this down. It's mainly just to get pieces like these a little smoother, and you can see it's just a little rough. So we're just going to smooth it out a wee bit. And before you guys freak out, I'm going to make sure to vacuum all the dust as I go throughout and do this. So I'm trying to minimize, getting little sawdust pieces all around where my trains run. So the board is sanded down and vacuumed to try to get as many of the little sawdust particles that I could get off. Here's all of our tape, all of our prep work down. So the next step of this is we're going to get our brown paint out and we're going to paint this. And as we paint it, we're going to sprinkle out all of our turf, quote unquote. And I'm doing this way in particular, so that way the brown can be the undertone and will kind of give more of that earthy look, as opposed to going with the green base, which I feel like would look like a little too fake. Granted, I'm still using tube track, so if I was really shooting for like realism, I'd probably use Gargraves, but as we discussed earlier in this video, it's just too expensive. Isn't this so cute? Like, look at this little roller brush. This is adorable. I got this at Hobby Lobby, which is where I got most of these supplies. So I have no clue how this is gonna work out. I don't even know if this is the right paint. I don't know if there's necessarily a right or wrong paint, but we're doing it this way and we're committed to it. I don't have like a rolling tray or anything, so I'm just gonna dump it and I'm gonna start over there and work in because I'd rather not get like paint on my shirt. Yeah, let me change shirts. Quick change of clothes and we are ready to go. Well, I guess I'll just pour some of this on here. Wonder how much of it it'll just absorb. Sick, I'm gonna need a lot more. Cue the time lapse. All right, y'all, I asked ChatGPT for a cool train fact to tell you guys while I paint this. So did you know that freight trains can be over 3 miles long, which is roughly 500 O-gauge, like rolling stock pieces back to back to back? That's pretty long. All right, y'all, that took a lot longer than I thought it would, but it's all brown. It's all brown. Now we're going to go in and we're going to start sprinkling in our grass. I'm not really sure what to expect. I've never done anything like this. Clearly, I'm sure some of you guys can denote that. We're going to start sprinkling stuff in and then we'll spray down some glue to help it, really keep place. All right, we're going to start with this darker one. I guess, I don't know, like it's like Parmesan cheese kind of. Really? Is this it? Oh, I can yeah. Cue the time lapse. As I'm going throughout this, I'm going to start spraying this glue just preemptively to help really hold down all of the turf. Turbo fun fact, did you know that in the 1950s, Lionel was the second toy producer only behind Lego? Very cool. Just to give you guys an idea of what I'm doing, all I'm taking is our turf right here. And then periodically I'm sprinkling and I'm doing a large area, then I'm going through. And then I'm just misting it with this spray super glue. You could use like some sort of diluted Elmer's glue with some water. Ideally, it's just something that's not full strength. All right, y'all, I finished putting down all the turf and all the glue. I'm gonna let this cure overnight, and then in the morning, we will put our track down, hook up a transformer, and I think that'll do it for this first part. All right, y'all, it's the following morning, and the table seems to be pretty dry. Here's a few things that I noticed. The board has started to bow up, so I don't really know what a great solution is for it at the moment. I'm just gonna go ahead and lay down the track. Maybe that'll help. Maybe having some trains on it will give it some more weight. And it appears everything is pretty dry, maybe. So I was thinking of potentially vacuuming the top to get some of these like larger chunks off, like right here. Like this stuff is pretty loose, but I'm not too sure. I'm not really too sure. I don't know if I should do another layer of glue or what the appropriate action would be. But I'm going to start laying down track. I'm going to see what happens. Now, I have seen online that some people have noted that Menards tube track oftentimes can be a little bit loose when trying to connect pieces. So I am going to just tighten most of these with a pair of pliers, and I'll show you guys how I'm going to do that. So all I'm going to do is take this and just squeeze this ever so slightly just to help get a little bit tighter of a connection. So I'm just going in, I'm just a smidge, and it'll really help the tube track stay in a little bit better. Back with another banging fun fact. However, this one is not so fun for Lionel, because did you know that they've been bankrupt twice, for the first time in 1967 and for the second time in 1991? Big L for the Big Lion. Well, after quite the battle, I was able to get both ovals onto the table. Let's note some things. One, grass has not done a great job at setting. Maybe I should have used more glue or done something differently. So it's clumped in a few spots, but I honestly think it helps add some realism. Like, it doesn't look terrible. Something that I do see as a good thing is that there is a ton of space between these two ovals. So I'm really not concerned about, running two trains at the same time. Here, I can scoot that one a little this way, but even then there's plenty of room here. I mean, that's the width of my hand. So I really think we'll be able to get some great action of running some trains side by side. Something else I like is that I have enough space along the edge right here. So I'm not really concerned with, this sticking out too far. And overall, I think this is going to work out super well. Now, something that I need to add for sure is going to be somewhere to put my transformer. I'll probably screw in and build some sort of platform here eventually. I would do on the right side because I'm going to put that sign is going to be in the front of this table. But something that I do want to add is a platform that I'll be able to have like my switches and stuff on, because eventually I will add more to this. For now, I guess I'm just going to put the transformer on this corner. I'm thinking that's going to be the best spot. Well, I just tried to solder these in right here. You can tell all my failed attempts are right there. But I couldn't get them to stay, so I just kind of like wedged them in the connector right there. Hopefully that'll be good enough so I can at least run some trains along this. How could I forget? This is like the most important part of the layout right here. Telephone pole gang. All right, we've got two trains on the layout. Let's see if my wiring mess can make both of them run. Yeah, dude, this is awesome. Everyone's ripping around right now. This microphone I'm using should auto noise cancel everything, so you guys should be able to hear me. But it's pretty loud in here right now. But it is awesome to see these trains going around. Two trains running at once. Finally. Finally. Two trains running at once. It's so cool. Now all we got to do is hook up some cars. All right, we've got some cars hooked up. Let's see them go around. Wow, this is awesome. It's so cool to actually see this come to fruition. To actually have a layout now that looks somewhat presentable is awesome. And I really think you guys are going to like it a lot more, especially in upcoming videos where I'm doing more O-Gauge stuff. It just looks so much more presentable. I mean, especially look at the decor right here. It's really something else. Thank you guys so much for watching, and most importantly, thank y'all for subscribing and liking and commenting and showing support to the channel. Everything that you guys do, I'm very appreciative for. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. A little celebration for 100 subscribers. I don't know when the next part of this will be, but this definitely is not the last layout video I'll make. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.